July 11th, year 11, at 2:31 a.m., entry 118, chapter 11, the start of poison. Today, Matt and I discussed many things between 7 p.m. and 1 a.m. Among those things were his past, my past, and our relationship inclinations, and the reasoning behind them. He also told me, in separate and unrelated sentences, that he likes me romantically. I told him to speak to John Friend about it, bracket, what the fuck, end bracket, and that he's not interested in a long-term relationship, bracket, yet, again, end bracket. That aside, sometime after 12, midnight, around the time where we finished the deepest part of our conversation and the Jewel music was finally shut off, bracket, he kept playing his Jewel CD on loop, end bracket, I started feeling odd. A headache first, later on followed by a stomach ache, a strange type of antsy-ness that wasn't physiological. Then I felt like crying, then I felt confused and unbalanced. I said goodbye to Matt, and halfway down the street I sat down mid-sidewalk and started crying and then laughing at myself while crying for how ridiculous I must have looked. On the bike ride home I felt fear, dizziness, weakness, like throwing up, and I also felt like physically running, but I handled that with a good, quick bike ride. On the way home, I began analyzing the past few hours and attempting to determine whether it was a psychosomatically based sickness, perhaps backlash from the emotions I was discussing, giving and receiving from Matt, or physiologically based, perhaps from drinking too much caffeinated black tea. I suspected it was a caffeine overdose caused by the three different types of tea that I tried over Matthew's house: the mild white tea that I named Strawberry Momotaro, and the two black teas, the Smoky Russian Caravan, and the tea that started with a P that I don't remember, Paul or something? Bracket. I think it was Puer, or Puer, end bracket. If I recall properly, I drank more of those three teas than Matthew did. Most of the Russian Caravan, because that was my choice. I believe he had 1.5 cups. Most of the Strawberry Momotaro. He didn't really drink any of it besides a sip. And an equal amount of the PT. Uh, Perhaps slightly less than him because I went back to the Russian Caravan, which had gone bitter from being oversteeped. I believe I may have caffeine overdosed from the Russian Caravan. It seemed pretty strong. Shame this is what this journal entry had to be about. Matt mentioned some pretty interesting things, and I would have liked to remember more of it for future reference. I go to sleep now. Also, I started eating/drinking around 2:09 a.m. Water plus reheated pizza. It's 2:45 a.m. and my stomach feels queasy but moderately better, and my headache has disappeared, along with most of the other symptoms. Oh, also Z and I made up, I believe. I will have to visit him again when I have the chance. And now I know where he lives, bracket, because I think he moved and we lost contact, end bracket. Also, July 11th at 10:49 p.m., a slenderish Caucasian male in black sweatpants, a white t-shirt, and a red do-rag was seen slinking away from my home's garage after failing to gain entry. I just noted this with curiosity. I suspect he was a thief.